Check it out. This your boy Phillip Bufford live on WTMH Radio, sponsored by Hit 'em with a Lacaya.
LeaderSpark at 614-442-7899.
Hit 'em with the website.
www.leaderspark.org.
You're supposed to say .com.
I know,
you want
right?
to say .com. You know, you're supposed to say.
Because it's so common.
You know, it's so common. But
different. But it's .org is .org.
Like, yeah, like the sponsors scaring you right now. They're like in the building, like, don't you dare say. Don't you dare say. We got on camera. Kay is looking at you like, don't you dare say .com. You know, because Kay has that real calm demeanor. Like, oh, you know, what is it like when you're mad? Why are you looking at Stokely? Like, you've seen it, Stokely. Okay.
I don't see her get mad too often.
You don't see her get mad too often?
No, so I couldn't tell you.
So if you've ever seen Kate Wilson mad, call us. 614-781-0754. We would all love to see it. We have in the building our sponsors that are making it happen. Thank you so much for our sponsors. We love our sponsors because, well, they keep us on the air and, you know, they pay the bills. So we love our sponsors and we market them. We love them so much. So I love my sponsors so much. Like, I express my love. I will give you a hug right now, but I'm kind of connected to a lot of stuff. And we go off air. They'd be like, what happened? They'd be like, Phillip tried to hug his sponsor.
And he tripped. Like he fell like off when he jumped off that wall.
Right. When I jumped and missed. You know, so, you know, that's going to be all bad. So we love our sponsors. And so LeaderSpark is our sponsor. They're making it happen. And they have an event that's happening on the 29th. But before we get into the event that's happening on the 27th and 29th, we've got in the building the executive director for LeaderSpark, Kay Wilson. How are you doing, girl? How are you feeling?
I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome. And we got Stokely in the building. Stokely, you know, how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling really good today.
Awesome. He was like, that's it. He was like, yeah, I'm good. All right. So first and foremost, we've been clowning around for like the first 15 minutes. But first, tell everybody in America and across the world, what is LeaderSpark?
So LeaderSpark is a nonprofit organization. We have been around since 1987. So yes, folks, that is 3 decades. And we have been igniting the spark of youth leadership in Central Ohio since 1987.
Since 1987. I was a youth.
I was in junior high school.
I was
I was a knucklehead.
I think I was in 7th grade. Oh my God, I think I was in 7th grade. 7th grade. You got to do the math though. Somebody count just to be sure.
No.
Was I in 6th grade or was I in 7th grade? I was 7th grade. Yeah. You sure?
That's about right.
I was in 7th grade. 7th grade was a great year. So
I'm surprised you remember that.
Yes. Look, my development, my maturity development stopped at 7th grade. 7th grade was great. I like have flashbacks of. I tell my nieces and nephews, wait till you get to 7th grade. They're like, what happens in 7th grade? I'm like, you'll see. You'll see. It was wonderful.
That is true.
So, but we've got youth development, youth leadership. You're focusing. How come I've never been invited to go to talk to the youth? They're like, no, Phillip, don't talk to our youth. We're scared.
Actually, we would love to have you.
We would
love to have you.
You have to say that because you're on air.
No,
with
not
me.
at all. Because there's some people that ask all the time, and I'm like, no.
Really? That would be so awesome. I want to be there. I so want to like shadow you one day and like have the cameras follow us and we'll follow you and just see like people be like, you know, Kay, I would love to talk to your youth. And do you really put up your hand and go, wait, do it for the camera. Wait, do it for the camera. And do like she do be like, and the music stuff too. She'd be like, no.
Exactly, just like that.
Really?
Yeah.
You've really done that?
Yeah, because you know we have to be mindful about who we put in front of the kids, and so we're at high schools. We're also at Franklin County Juvenile Detention, and so there will be a lot of brothers who spent time in jail who are like, yes, I could talk to them. Yes, and I'm like, but you still live in 1 foot there and 1 foot there, and I can't do that because that's like false, and so. You know.
Yeah. So what are some of the programs that LeaderSpark has that people can know about?
So we have leadership and workforce development training. we tend to go to where the young people are. So whether that's recreation centers, high schools, juvenile detention, some churches, we've been doing development at some churches as well. So we teach the soft skills, a lot of things that they don't learn in school. And especially now with social media and rapid fire information, they don't always have the time to take to learn more about the project of themselves.
Okay, true.
And so we build up them, and then we talk to them about whatever their spark is, because we found that once young people know what jazzes them, they're more successful.
I'm seeing that's a buzzword. What sparks them, what jazzes them. So I'm like, I like those words. I feel jazzy. I feel sparky. Okay. Big shout out to the kids that named their dog Sparky, or the fish, or whatever. Sparky. You know, and to the parents that actually nicknamed your child Sparky. Which is cool. So, all right. So, in Stokely, are you one of the leaders that have been sparked and jazzed by LeaderSpark?
Yeah, I definitely say I've been sparked by LeaderSpark. I like to go with my mom sometimes, just sort of check out what's going on over there.
Okay.
Help wherever I can. So yeah.
Okay. And who's your mom?
My mom is Wendy.
Right here. I just wanted. I knew that, but I just wanted him to say it. I knew it.
No, I think
we got cameras.
You just wanted him to say that.
I did. I wanted him to say that. Like, who's your mom? Like, who's your mom? You know, so
all the girls out there, watch it.
Right,
watch out.
Right. He is on TV like right now. He's on TV, and his mama's sitting right next to him. And she got some 6-inch heels that look sharp. You will get beat down in style. So now, do you participate in some of the activities?
Yeah.
So what's one of the activities that you participated in that you really like?
I mean, kind of recently, I went down with her to. Where did we go? We went somewhere to when we were giving the.
Don't you hate it when kids do that? They'll be like, "Yeah, we went to."
I'll probably tell you the biggest influence. I will say the biggest influence. So LeaderSpark has done a social enterprise, and Stokely was one of the young people who pitched the social enterprise, which is Honey Child, to our board as well as to other people in the community to get it funded.
Really?
So to me, that's probably one of the biggest.
Now, what's Honey Child?
Yeah, so, I'm curious.
Honey Child is like, depending on how you describe it, I might be a honey child. Like, yes.
So, Honey Child is the buzzword in nonprofit is social enterprise. So it's a way to diversify the funds that you have coming in, and so it's either a product or a business that you can sell, and then that money will then go back into the program. So, Honey Child is that honey. And it's done by young people. And so what they do is they actually have an apiary where they keep bees.
Really?
Yes. And
I'm not liking how this goes because bee and bees.
I know, right? But I'm curious.
Like, I support, but bee and bees, like.
So the bees, they learned a lot of different life lessons through that. So a couple lessons were that if you don't pay attention to the rules, obviously you get stung.
Right.
The fact that they develop empathy because there's this one little insect that's doing a lot of work that actually helps us pollinate our food. And if our food isn't pollinated, then we don't live.
Right. And right now there is a shortage of bees.
Yes. And also the fact that they all have jobs to do. So the queen has a job to do. Shout out to all the queens out there.
All right.
And the worker bees have jobs to do, right? And if they don't do their job, then there's no honey or there's no pollination. Okay. So it made sense, to pitch it. So to hear Stokely, pitch it, and those funders, we had to get money in order to get the apiary up and going. So that was great. And we like to do a lot of co-creation with young people. So just like the program that we're doing on the 29th, we have a lot of events where people come and they're talking heads. Okay. And so Stokely, our Youth Advisory Council, they have thoughts and they don't want me or any other older person telling them what they want for the community, especially when the community is supposed to be for them.
Right. Okay. I'm hearing you. That's awesome. So they have their own advisory board.
Yes.
Now, what is the steps to get onto the advisory board?
Because I want to be on the advisory board, like for the young people. Like I want to be on their board.
Look, you did that would be like what is it when they say you can no longer sing in the young adult choir? There's like a cutoff age.
No, but my maturation stopped at 7th grade. Like I'm a perpetual 7th grader. I mean, like yes, I'm a grown. You know how people be like, that you're an old soul. No, I'm a young one. I'm a very young
Peter
soul.
Pan. All right, Peter Pan.
Look, I would wear them tights if I could fit them. I would. If women could wear yoga pants, I would wear the Peter Pan pants.
They do have, they do have those. They call them mantyhose.
See, I mean,
I can't see him in mantyhose though.
I didn't really mean for you to find it. It was just good to say it. Because I could be like, hey, it's going to be like, hey, Phillip, remember when you said, and we want to do a presentation to our students in the mantyhose. Studley, would you approve of that?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
That is scary.
That is scary. I'll be like a black Peter Pan. They'd be like, no. Like, where's Tinkerbell? Like, she took the day off.
I'm sorry, I'm not showing up. I am leaving my fairy wings at home.
So you have you like put you on the thing and just have you swing.
Yeah,
by.
no. Sorry.
So all right,
So what
the
is
advisory?
How do our young people get onto the advisory board?
So they can email our program director at programs@leaderspark.org, and there's an application that we send out, and they go through a small interview process.
Love it.
Now, do they already have to be a part of the program in order to become a part of the board?
No.
Oh, wow.
Now, how old are they?
Opportunity.
So between 14 and 24.
24? How? Oh, look. Wow. No. I was 7th grade. They get 24-year-olds?
Because we've got credit recovery high schools or people who are still seeking GEDs. Maybe they got a stumbling block somewhere along the line. Okay. And so they can go up to 21. Wow. As far as they can be in a credit recovery high school and still be 21. That's kind of like the cutoff.
Okay, that's awesome. So
wow.
So now you've got a lot of major things happening, and tell us about the summit that's happening on the 27th and the 29th.
Mm-hmm. So the summit, and I do want to shout out Stokely for this design on our flyer.
Yes.
But the summit is on the 27th and 29th. On Saturday, the 29th, we are doing a very experiential summit. We have been funded by Ohio Commission for Minority Health. Okay. And that is a big deal because people look at gang violence in particular as a health issue. It is a systemic health issue. Okay. Rather than just it's a gang thing. And so the event on the 29th is from 12 to 4. And we are inviting as many young people in the city because we really need to hear their voices. We get a lot of people that will say things like, oh, you guys will march if it's a police shooting. But where is the marching when it's, one young person shooting another young person? Okay. And the thing is different. Sometimes you expect young people, if it is sometimes our European counterparts, they will say things like, oh, boys will be boys.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And so we want to hear their voices. We want to hear their aggressions. We want to hear their issues. Because the thing is that there's a lot of issues that us adults are removed from.
Yeah, they don't tell us.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's a reason why some people drop out of school. Maybe because mom moved on the west side, they were on the east side, and now they're in an opposing gang neighborhood. And mom didn't know, and they're not, if they've been gang involved, they're not exactly going to tell mom, hey, why did we move here? This is my rival gang or my rival squad. And so now they can't go to school, right? So there are a lot of issues that young people face that certainly as you get older, you get further removed from some of those problems.
Wow. So how do parents, and this is a twofold question because I think this is one of the questions that really needs to be, you guys will discuss at the summit, is how do parents get connected again to their children without being without being
abrasive and invading their privacy?
I think the first thing is just to listen.
Okay.
A lot of times we don't ask. We do ask the questions like, oh, how was school today? Or how was work today? And if we get fined, that's okay, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of kids that are brought up and, you hand them an iPad or a phone and want them to go away. And every once in a while you have to pull back and just listen and be attentive. There's a young man who killed himself the other day on Facebook. He had no idea, and he was, trying to show somebody, how to use a gun, and ended up killing himself right there. And his mom was like, I had no idea he even had a gun.
Oh God.
So, these are questions that we just need to ask. And sometimes, I mean, as parents, I laugh at my kids because sometimes they'll look at me like, why does she keep asking me a question? Because when your kids are being either squeamish or not honest, or because there's usually a routine, right?
Yeah. And when that routine breaks,
you know something's going on. And so you just, sometimes it's not enough just to be like, oh, okay. Because I try to be so mindful to my kids to give them their space, but sometimes you just gotta ask.
And pray that they are forthcoming with the information. Because sometimes you can ask and they don't respond all the way.
So what does that? And I'm going to slide this over to Stokely because I mean all of us have been kids, but you're currently a young man growing into his adulthood. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 19.
19. So here's one of the things. Do you find yourself wanting to talk to your parents about things that are happening in your life? Do you prefer to talk to other people? Are there times that you want to talk to your parents?
Yeah, I don't mind talking with my mom about problems, just because I know that, like, the tighter grasp she has on my life, like, sort of the better understanding she'll have, like, what problems I'm going through and how to solve them, and, like, the best course of action just to sort of help me.
Okay. Now, here's something that I discovered with my own parents. And I actually discovered this as I got older, that when my mom got sicker, she wanted to be involved in my life. And so we talked about a lot of different things. And I found out that when challenging things happened in my life, it was easier to talk to her because we talked about other things. Right. Same way with my dad. We talked about other things. So when challenges came up, that relationship was already established, that relationship was already there to be able to talk to them. I actually discovered that at an older age. So what would you say to parents about the techniques that you've already said? One step is listening. Because I've discovered that a lot of times when children need to talk or when teenagers need to talk, they don't have that relationship already established where I'm comfortable saying to you what I want to say to you.
Right.
And I just found out it's easier when you do have that relationship, when you do actually talk about good stuff, when there's no pressure, no issues. So what would be some techniques for people who don't have that relationship, who want to develop that relationship? How do parents get started on that?
So I will give a scenario only because it's personal to me, and in the work that I do, I've also seen it. So I was adopted, so I have biological parents, and my dad and we talk a lot now, but we have probably spent no more than 3 hours in the same room together ever in all of my life.
Wow.
And for him, it's a guilt thing because there was times where he went to prison. There was times where he had drug addiction problems. And so sometimes the shame hangs him up a lot. And I see this with a lot of my parents. And I got to the point where I said, Dad, could you just try to be a grandfather? I'm grown, right?
Okay.
And so with parents, I've seen that they hang a lot onto shame because they want to try to do it right. And most particularly when they see their kids going through challenges and they don't feel equipped themselves in order to deal with it. And the best thing that I can say is, you know what? All of our kids will listen to other people sometimes more than they'll listen to their parents, or there's something that you will try to tell them and it never clicked, and then they'll come home and say, well, you know what, Johnny's mom said, and you're like, dude, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
That
would be me. I would call you up on the phone and be like, hey, my boy, it's all bad, but my boy's so hot.
Right. But you know what? A lot of it comes from not actively listening. from both parties.
Right. Well, and
we stuck on our cell phones and the latest soap opera that's on TV, whether it's whatever show it is. Let's just put it like that. I ain't gonna give no shout outs. But a lot of it has to do with just being disconnected from each other. So you can say that, but if you're speaking to your child and they're in their phone, they hear, but they don't hear. They're not actively listening.
Well, and sometimes if you can't find the words, 20 seconds of a hug does something emotionally and chemically to the body. Okay. So sometimes I tell parents that if you can't find the words, just hold your child, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes saying nothing says everything. They just want to know that you care. And so if you cannot articulate what it is that you want to say, just hold them, right? Just hold them for a while. Because then if you continue to do that, that is still going to develop that bond, right? Because even with me and my mother or me and my father, I heard some really nasty things about my parents growing up. But there was nothing that could break that bond with me and my parents, period. Yeah. Period. Because I knew that the worst in me and the best of me was somewhere in them. And it was my job to figure out what that was. It was not their job. It was my job.
Okay. I'm feeling that. The thing from my family was kisses. We're like, I had to kiss. I had to kiss. My mom always said, don't you walk out this house without kissing me. And then, mothers are great. Stokely, I think you would agree with this. They're great for guilt trips. Like, something can happen to me and you didn't kiss me. And you're going to be thinking, why I didn't kiss? And I'm like, Mom, there's going to be a lot of stuff on my mind if something happened to you besides kiss. But then, it's really interesting, when something started happening to my mom, I actually thought about, did I kiss my mom? And I would go back in and I would kiss her. She'd like, you coming in for more kisses? And I was like, yeah, I just couldn't remember if I kissed you the last time. She was like, well, you did kiss me. I think something wrong with you. So do you find yourself, what's something that you do special? And I'm all in your business. I'm all in your business. But is there something you do? A hug, a kiss?
I try to check up with my mom as much as I can. Call or text her whenever.
Okay.
And that was, I think, one of the, if things ever happened where I didn't get that, right? So he went off to college before, and I'm like looking at my phone every day, like I'm not getting the text, I'm not getting nothing. And I'm trying to okay, he's growing up, let me give him the space. I train on this, I know what this is. But then sometimes I'm like, nah.
You want that phone call.
I just want to, just even a text message, I'm home or I'm back in the dorm or whatever. So, I can be played, but.
I didn't realize, and, I'm still amazed by the effect. And fathers, they have that too. They just have it differently.
Yeah.
But I'm just still amazed by how much the lives of children affect parents. Like, from something I was like, it's just a text message. But for the parent, it's the world. It means the world.
Especially nowadays when there's things going on and there's violence and everything. Look at what happened in Cleveland. Okay. Yeah. So I don't care how grown you think you are. Just send me a message that you're home okay. Even if you're not, any longer in my home. Yeah. I just need to know you got to where you were going and you're okay. Because imagine, so a father, grandfather, great grandfather left an Easter party and everybody's thinking he's just okay. And look what happened. So those are things, I would get angst in my belly and, it's that teeter-totter. And then also, Phillip, they're my kids. Yeah. So this one and his brother. So I know what a rascallion I was. Right. So they have my DNA.
So they have to figure out the good and the bad for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and so there's that balance. And the beautiful thing that I love about working with kids is actually what I love about being a parent is that, I learn as much from them as I'm praying that they learn from me. And so when that bond is broken, right, it's like, I know I'm off, right? Okay. And it's the same with the young people that we work with. There's this gentleman at Juvenile Detention Center, and we talk about responsibility. And I went to him and I said, hey, he said, Miss K, when I get back on the outs, I'm going to have to go straight back to doing what I was doing. And I'm like, why? He was like, because, I got 2 kids now. And he was 16. So I said, dude, 16 and 2 kids, even if you were on the outs, is an issue. That's going to be hard. It has nothing to do with you being in juvenile detention, right? So I said, so tell me, why do you have 2 kids at 16? And he said, you know what, Miss K? He said, because those kids are the only proof to the world that I ever existed. Because I don't expect to be here past 21.
Wow.
That is
and
crazy.
I'm like, huh?
Wow.
When I had my kids, I never thought about that. I thought like, what a blessing. Oh, this is wonderful. I wonder what they'll grow up to be. I wonder how I'm going to watch them through all these stages. I never once thought that, you know what, I'm not even going to be here, but they're going to be the ones that prove that I even existed on this world.
Wow. Yeah.
That's heavy.
What did you say to that?
I said, you know what? I said, but you say that, but I need you to live. If you can't live for you, you need to live for them. Because there will be absence if you're not around.
Wow. This is, I'm glad we're having this conversation because, on Friday nights, a lot of times we turn up, we have a good time, we laugh and funny stuff. And I say a whole bunch of stuff. But, family is one of those things that is very, very huge to me. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the posts that I put out, or I don't put a lot of posts about my family, but for those that know, I have like 5 nieces and nephews. I actually have 7 nieces and nephews, but 2 of them are grown and they all have their own kids, which is so ironic because I remember seeing these babies and like you wouldn't go to sleep unless you were sleeping on my chest. And these were 2 boys. And now these 2 boys are now young men and they both have 1 child apiece. And I'm sitting up here like, what happened? Like,
right. Like, when did you grow up?
What happened? But now I have 5 nieces with my baby sister, nieces and nephews. And something that I discovered as just being an uncle, and I'm not a parent, but it is that when you build those relationships, I spend time with them. Like when they play, the girls and the boys fight over whose room I'm going to sleep in. Like, and it's nothing taken away. And if the boys lose the fight that I have to sleep in the girls' room, then the boys sleep in the girls' room because Uncle Phillip is there. And it's just amazing that I spend time with them. And the things that I hear, the things that they tell me. And like when things happen, they're like, when it's great, I want to tell Uncle Phillip. When it's bad, don't tell Uncle Phillip. Don't tell Uncle Phillip.
Are you that protective uncle?
I am because something happened where my oldest niece, where a boy did something on her cell phone and she was trying to avoid them. And so he sent her a message from a different phone.
Oh, wow.
And the teacher saw it. So they sent her to the principal's office with the phone and she explained what was going on. So she was nowhere near in trouble, but the boy was in trouble. And she told her parents knew about it. And she was calm with her parents knowing about it.
Okay.
But she was like, but whatever you do, don't tell Uncle Phillip.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, where's the boy at? Where's his parents at? I want to go to the house. I want to look him in his face. I want to look them in their face and let them know this cannot happen again. And so, I mean, it's really amazing, that relationship. And I think having a support team is also important. And I took that whole round way to basically say that being a parent is not an easy thing to do by itself. Much applause. But having a support team, having family around that can. So if you can have family to support you and you can't trust them, definitely have it, because it does help.
It does.
With balancing the relationship.
It does.
It helps.
It helps a big time, because the village has changed so much since we grew up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no longer, it takes a village to raise the child. It literally takes that household to raise that child. So this is something great that you're actually putting together to extend and bring back that village.
Yeah, you're extending the village.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
So
and big shout out to y'all, because you go to where the people are. You don't wait for them to come to you.
Right.
Which is a more effective paradigm, because you're working with people in their environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into some more music, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more because right now it's 17 past the hour. And, we're going to let you give out because we've been giving out your information all the time. So go ahead. Tell people how to get in touch with you and the website and all that good stuff.
So you can call us at 614-442-7899 or LeaderSpark at www.leaderspark.org or shout out on Facebook or Twitter.
That works. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump back into some more music. I love reggae. I just love, right. I just love reggae. So Stokely told me to play this. No, I'm lying out of here. Stokely didn't say this. He has no idea what I'm about to play. But we're gonna play some whatever you got. We're gonna play it. In the meantime, this your boy Phillip Bufford live. Lacaya in the building. We got Kay Wilson. We got Stokely in the building. And y'all need to spell this. It's going down. Smell this. Come on away. Like really smell it. Like no, really. Get close to the phone and smell it.
This is not smell vision.
Smell it. Smell it. Let's go.
No one's ever gonna hurt you, love. I'm gonna give you all of my love. Nobody matters like you. Your life ain't gonna be nothing like my life. You're gonna go and have a good life. I'm gonna do what I gotta say.